Hey everybody, Koricon here in the offices of the Longmont Observer, and we're going to be reviewing Bumblebee, which was directed by Travis Knight and starring Hallie Seinfeld and John Cena. Now this is supposed to be the last of the Transformers movies as I understand it. I don't know if that's true. I bet if it makes a lot of money that they'll make another one. This one does take place in the 80s, so it's before all of the other Transformers movies, and it's the story of how Bumblebee comes to Earth, being the first Transformer to be here. And of course, he's being, chased down by two Decepticons that had kind of followed him. Don't want to get into any spoilers, but I do want to talk about something that bothered me. I will get into some positives and some negatives. First positive was, I think this one, to me, was one of the better of the Transformer movies. Now, I liked the first one, the first Transformers. The sequels, not so much. Didn't really care for them that much. I didn't even watch the last one, the last night. And I would put this one equal with the first Transformers movie. So if you liked that one, you'll probably like this one, even if you didn't like the sequels like me. And if you're a fan of the entire series, then I think you'll love the movie. One of the reasons I think it was one of the better movies is the story got a little smaller. If you look at some of the sequels and even the first one, they have so many characters in there, it's kind of hard to keep the personality straight. Some of the side characters just don't get enough characterization to feel important. Your main characters are splitting up characterization with multiple characters. In this movie, you really only have two main characters. You have Bumblebee and you have Charlie, who finds him in a junkyard. Now you have some other side characters like the parents and the little brother. You have John Cena, who's the military kind of villain that's trying to capture Bumblebee. And you also have a kind of love interest boyfriend guy. Shows up a bit. He has a couple of scenes of characterization just to show that he's interested in her. But for the most part, he's just kind of along for the ride, and you don't really get too much about his personality. I would have liked more characterization with him. Now, one of the negatives is the comedy relief that they do in some of these Michael Bay movies, which he didn't direct it this time, Travis Knight did. But some of the comic relief seems over the top. It's very exaggerated humor, which I guess works because it's a kid's movie, so exaggerated humor is really going to grab the attention of people that are under 12. But I don't think you need to do that to make it a kid's movie. I think you can have smart humor and regular humor without having to be exaggerated and over the top with it. But it wasn't too bad in this movie. If you look at some of the Transformer sequels, they had so many comic relief characters that were super exaggerated that it became overwhelming. And you're like, okay, just stop. And you didn't really get that too much in this one. The parents were kind of like that. The little brother was basically a little brother. He wasn't too exaggerated. He was how a kid would act. And the boyfriend, he was exaggerated. John Cena, though, wasn't. He was pretty much a very straight villain. And I thought he did a decent job. I mean, they didn't give him too much. His motivations is really just to capture Bumblebee. The CGI looked really great, just like any of the other Transformer movies. The fight scenes, I thought, were a bit better. If you watch the first movie, one of my big complaints was that the fight scenes the camera was way too close, and you're just seeing robot parts. You don't even know who it belongs to half the time. Or it's from the point of view of one of the humans and they're like way above your head and you're not seeing the fight at that point. You're just seeing the scale of what a robot might look like if it was standing near you. With this movie, and a couple of the sequels had this as well, they pulled the camera back. And so you get to see either full frame with both of them in frame at the same time without cutting too much, or maybe a little bit closer, but you still get both in frame and you're not intercutting between the two or having close-ups of punching and that kind of thing. So I did like the fight sequences. I was happy with that. The main story was fairly simple and straightforward. You really didn't need to have anything too complicated. And that was one of the bonuses, I think, for the movie is your characters are down. The story is a bit simpler. And so it doesn't feel so saturated. Now, this isn't a spoiler, but it happens in the first scene of the movie, right in the beginning. They are on Cybertron and they're fighting they're fighting each other for Cybertron, which is, if you don't know, is the Transformers' main planet. Optimus Prime and some of the others are going to try and find another planet that they can live on, since Cybertron is basically overrun by Decepticons and they can't win the war. And so he launches off different Transformers to different planets to try and find one. And Bumblebee is the one that gets to go to Earth. But one of the things that confused me and made me giggle a bit was on Cybertron, before any of them had gone to Earth, they look like the cars and vehicles and stuff that you're used to. However, in the first Transformers movie that takes place in 2000 something, when they all first come to Earth, they acquire their look. Optimus Prime sees a Mack truck. He becomes a Mack truck, that kind of stuff. So why are they looking like that on Cybertron in the 80s before any of them have been to Earth yet? That, I was like, wait a minute. They haven't been there. I don't know why they look like that. How do they know? And I was joking with my brother that maybe they, when they were researching Earth, they're like, pick your look. And so they all, I guess, were on Cybertron picking one. I don't know. But why did they send Transformers to other planets as well instead of just Earth? You would think if they had pre-chosen, then they would have chosen Earth as the only planet they're going to. And then why in the first Transformers did they have to choose their look when they first landed? Like, it boggled me. I was like, what are you doing? But after thinking about it, I understand why they did that, is because for kids and maybe even some adults, you can't tell, anybody wouldn't be able to tell who's who except for maybe by voice. And so it would be really confusing for people because they don't know which robot is which. And so I can kind of understand that. You make them the vehicles that you're used to just so that people don't get confused. But I got confused at why they even looked like that in the first place. And I thought it was a little funny, but I'm not going to ding the movie for it because I understand why they did it. Overall, I had fun with the movie. If you have kids that want to see it, I say, yeah, go ahead and take them to it. It's a fun time at the theater. And I thought Haley Steinfeld was probably the best human that we've had in any of the Transformer movies. I liked her. I liked her personality. She was very much of a teenager. So maybe if they do a sequel, we get to see her a little bit older and not so teenagery. Calm down a bit. That would be great. But overall, I like the movie. I had fun with it. It's not the best movie. None of the Transformer movies are. But if you like them, I think you'll have fun. So I'm going to give Bumblebee a B. B for Bumblebee. I didn't really plan that, but I thought about it as soon as I said it. But let me know what you guys think. Have you seen Bumblebee? Are you going to watch it? Are you not going to watch it? Do you like the Transformer movies or hate them? Let me know in the comments below. Links to all of my stuff in the description of this video. So if you're watching this on the Longmont Observer, feel free to go to the video on YouTube and check out the description so you can see all my info. And I will see you on the next video.